What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Bailey, and it's time for the Week in Review. Kicking it on a lazy Sunday, just wanted to say hello and remind you guys we have some big changes coming this week. So first and foremost, we are going to be making a transition over to the Ryan Bailey Edge version of the Substack. It's essentially where I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit more in-depth look at myself, my profitability, the way I trade, and my process. The Substack will have the full rebrand coming on Monday, and then we have some exciting things happening the following week. We'll be starting to do daily post-market breakdowns where we go over the plan, what played, and also what stocks we're looking at, and also kind of line up for the next day as well. First and foremost, please make sure that you follow me on Twitter and YouTube, as I have changed my branding there, my handles. We actually have a brand new YouTube channel as we are starting to make a little change here. So first and foremost, the at symbols or the tags are the same for the users. It is at Ryan Bailey Edge for both YouTube and Twitter. I'm starting to be extremely active on Twitter, guys. Rob has made it so I can post from the Discord, so it makes it very easy for me to do so. Unless you are in the Discord room already, there is probably no other way to get information as fast. And also the Substack will be the same, just different branding. So I look forward to you guys following along here, and make sure that you get in soon. So you're going to be a part of this as we continue to grow this brand and move forward. This Week in Review will actually be posted on both the normal Vici YouTube and also over here at the Ryan Bailey Edge. This will be the last week of being posted on the Vici YouTube. Everything will still remain the same. We will continue to keep the brand alive. Just we're going to be starting to focus a little bit more on me personally, and so people can get to know me and exactly what I do every day, so that they can follow along a little bit better and start to experience some of the profitability and success that I've had. So now let's get right into the Week in Review. First and foremost, as you guys know, I always like to start with I always like to start with the top end look down of the weekly TPO. And it's not a surprise to everyone that we've been balancing all week. It's actually made for a fairly difficult trading week, other than just playing the range, because we really haven't broken out in a while. So we've had a lot of inside days. We had this massive move down here on Friday, and we've been contained within this so far moving forward. So we had this pretty large balance area all last week, or 2 weeks ago, let me say, and then we just kind of forced down and essentially had this inefficient auction here that the following week, which was last week, we decided to clean up. Okay, so we spent all week here essentially cleaning up this mess. Okay, what was interesting is they never broke the low, which I was really surprised about. We've just balanced in here and accepted value, and what's kind of wild is this is a very large composite over here of a couple weeks put together, and its value areas are aligned as well. So just a lot of acceptance of price here. One of the things that I pointed out 2 weeks ago to the guys on the Substack, and I believe on the review here, was we have a massive bullish imbalance that was generated from 2 weeks ago. It takes us all the way up to 69.50. Now, are we going to get up there? I don't know, but honestly, I wouldn't put it past this market. I mean, this thing is just insane. And so, are we going to get to 69.50? Who knows? It's certainly possible. We have a massive imbalance that points us that direction. We have a JPM collar that also tells us that 69.50, I believe, is the top of the collar, which is a magnet. And so there's no reason to believe that it can't happen. I'll just say that. So with that being said, let's kind of let's just assume that it's possible. Okay, right now that's the way we're looking. So just from a weekly TPO standpoint, what do we have here? Well, essentially a breakout above 67.17, or let's just call it 67.20, could send us much higher. And that's kind of what I have on the candlestick charts as well. I have a make it or break it spot that I'll show you guys that we're going to get into here real shortly. And this is pretty pretty much how my candlestick chart looks as well. Now, under 660, 6660, this thing's in trouble. As you guys know, 6660 has been a massive daily level. We have played it over and over and over again, and it's been great. But again, this has always been one of our main line in the sands, and as it's the daily leg to the all-time high. And so, the profile chart tells us exactly what the candlestick charts tell us. I will say this. You certainly can't forget this naked point of control up here at 67.91. This is an area of contention, guys. We could very well get a reaction when we come up here, but from a candlestick perspective, everything is tested. So we'll get right into that right now, and we're going to keep it pretty simple and clean because as we've been balancing back and forth, not a lot has changed structurally. Try to keep it real clean for you guys so that it makes this very simple. We normally had another level marked here, which was the 6660, which I'll show you here, right here, okay? I went ahead and removed this level just for simplicity's sake, as we're just gonna go ahead and stick with the main leg to the all-time high. Even though it goes like this is technically still the sub leg, and so we have our main leg to the all-time high, okay? Just for clarity purposes here. So as you guys know, we had this massive push down, and then we've been in this balance area this whole time. We had a fantastic short at 67.66. We called the high tick. It took us all, this was a monster smack for like 110 points or 120, 30 points. I don't know what it was, but we rode it, and it was awesome. It was amazing. But one of the things I want to show you guys, which is really important for you to understand here, is we had this massive move down, okay? They actually created this weekly level at 66.05, okay, because they pushed up first, right? We created the level. Then what did they do, right? They come down, they tested the weekly, they popped up, and they tested the highs. Now we've come down, and we played the daily at 66.34, and now we're pushing up. So here's the main synopsis of this whole entire review. This whole market, in my opinion, depends on what happens at 67.32. This is the only untested daily that I have that separates us from making a new all-time high or getting absolutely dumped on. Okay? 67.32, people. It's the big level. Okay? Keep it in mind. Put it on your chart. It all comes down to that. Okay? As you can see on Friday, they come up and they played the 67.15, which was the ETH leg down. We barely got a reaction, okay? So I don't really mark ETH levels, as you guys know, but I thought it was interesting confluence anyways. So this is what it's all going to come down to, guys. 67.32. We gain this on the daily, essentially saying if we close above this on the daily, we're going to make a new all-time high. Okay, that's kind of how I look at it. All this is tested up here. There's nothing to see. This is our high loss. They smacked it on Friday. Whoop, down. Okay, we're done. All right. So the only thing is below us, below 67.32, I've got nothing that's untested except for like some 4-hour levels, which very well could hold. They could play. Don't get me wrong. But from a high time frame perspective, if I was like somebody who was just trading the daily or the weekly chart, which is something I actually do, this is the level. And this, I was expecting to get short here on Friday. I was going to short the shit out of this. And if we were going to close up here on Friday, I was going to buy puts. And neither of those things happened. So it's probably better that it didn't because, there's no telling what can happen over the weekend. But with that being said, this level is going to be our determining factor for more up or down. Obviously, we have this other resistance here, the 67.50, which was the gray smack on Thursday, I think it was, and it sent us all the way down here to the leg at 66.34. By the way, we had that level as well. Congratulations to all those in the room who took that short. That was a banger. So we're holding this now. So again, now we're contained between 67.32 and 66.34, this 100-point range in here that we're just kind of chilling in. Okay, so this is the big determining factor, you guys. This is where it all comes down to. As you can see, they've been trying to hold this 50-day down here and just doing their number. But, this is the make it or break it. I really don't even need to go any farther than this for the review, and we could leave it there. But I will break it down into the 4-hour for you guys just to show you what's up. And so let's get into that right now. All right, so I'm going to pull this 4-hour over for you. It's very clean because there's not much here. So this is a great looking chart in my opinion. You can see right here, this is the previous weekly value area high, value area low, and the previous weekly POC. This is our 660 right here. This was our make or break on the TPO, from the weekly TPO, as you saw. And obviously the 64 was the leg to the high. Okay, so everything makes sense here. Good stuff. All right, now, what do I have that's untested? Well, they tested 66.64 on Friday. They tested that on the back test, which sent us up, which led me to believe that we could easily get to 67.32, and they just couldn't get it done by Friday. They actually stopped at the previous weekly value area high. Okay, so what do I have here? Again, 67.32 is very much untested. All right, if they play this, one of two things happens. We either push and accept value and come up here and make new highs, or they get absolutely decimated and they come back to 66.60. The only thing I have that's untested down here is a 4-hour level at 66.59, which is also located with the previous weekly value area low at 66.60. I do believe this area will get a reaction, and I will be looking to buy this level as long as we play this and get back above 64, and I think that would make for a good buy. But again, right now my process says down. Okay, we lost on the daily, we've lost on the 4-hour. They continue to close lower. Look at this close down here. We've closed below this leg. They've lost on the daily when they closed down here. They haven't regained. In order for me to feel like we actually are making progress to the upside, I need a daily close above 67.32. That's it. That's how I look at it. And until that happens, I'm looking to short this thing. But again, I'm going to be very cautious because we are obviously holding this lower structure down here. And the 50 days, they continue to move up. We have this massive, bullish imbalance at the highs. And so really it all comes down to 32. They get above 32. We got to deal with 50, which is already tested right here and was tested here. But of course, then we have the big boy at 67, 66.25. Again, tested. So, in my opinion, once we get above 32 and accept value above here, we could just kind of come up and do this number and then make highs. But again, if we reject from 32, that's all she wrote. The other thing I have is underneath 66.59. I do have another untested 4-hour at 66.31 that came from this leg to this high. But again, this daily, as you can see, this daily was tested right here. This 34 daily was tested right here. So the daily is tested. So I don't even have daily support. What I have is a 4-hour support. So again, I'll be looking for 31 to play and then come back above 34 and for me to get long, obviously taking a lot of profits, the majority of my profits around 66.59 to 66.64. And if we get continuation back above that, I'll add back into the trade and see if we can push this higher. But ultimately, once we get below 66.60, like I showed you guys on the TPO, this thing's in trouble. And then below 66.31, she's in big trouble because we got jack shit under here that's untested. And then we've got this weekly down here at 66.05. They've already played. This 4 hours wiped. We get underneath 66.05. We come down, 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 down. Okay, this is our last 4-hour down here, which is technically not even a 4-hour leg. I don't want to get into the semantics of that, but it could play as support. But more importantly, I would be looking at it for a target because if we smack from here again, I'm looking for new lows. Okay, so that's what I got for you guys today. That is it. That's where I'm going to leave it. It all comes down to 67.32, people. Put this level on your chart and call it a day. Underneath 66.60, she's gonzo. So you guys enjoy the rest of your week. I will talk to you soon. Have a fantastic weekend, and we will absolutely crush it next week. Look for the plan to come out on Tuesday, and let's make some money. Cheers.